Well, in this lesson, we are going to learn how to convert a function from standard form to vertex form. And basically, we will be completing the square. So, this is how we will do that. Well, let's complete the square. So looking at problem number 1 here, I think I'll zoom in a little bit more. Completing the square, we would want to subtract 11 from both sides, because this is not the correct number to complete the square. So I will do minus 11 on both sides. This f of x, similar to if this were y equals, this is just a label. It's the name of the function. Just bring it down and treat the whole thing like a variable, all right? So we'll have f of x minus 11 is equal to x squared minus 6x. Okay? Now we'll start to think about what number will complete the square. And remember, we get that by doing half of the middle squared. So we have negative 6. Half of that is negative 3. If we square that, we get 9, positive 9. This is always positive. All right? Because I did plus 9 on the right-hand side, I'm going to have to add 9 also on the left side. So, on the next line, we will have f of x. Let's see, this is going to be minus 2. All right? Negative 11 plus 9. All right, is equal to. Now, we might as well go ahead and factor this. Now, because we completed the square, and we know that this is going to factor as the same thing twice. So this will be x minus 3. I see the minus right there. And x minus 3. So, in other words, what we have is f of x minus 2 is equal to x minus 3 squared. Adding 2 to both sides, all right, because in the end we want to get back to f of x, just like what we started with. So in the end, I'm going to add 2 to both sides again, plus 2 plus 2. So I will have f of x equals x minus 3 squared plus 2. Put a box around that for me, because that is your vertex form. This is vertex form. Now, one of the benefits of vertex form is that I should be able to just look at it and know what the vertex is. It's the opposite of this, comma this. So this will be positive 3, all right, opposite of that, comma 2. Okay, that is the vertex. Now, the axis of symmetry, we can know that by looking at the x value of the vertex. The axis of symmetry will be x equals 3. All right? On a graph, that would be a vertical line at 3. Okay. When you write your axis of symmetry, please make sure you put x equals 3. Don't just put 3. All right, moving on. Let's look at number 2. All right, completing the square. So let's move that 1 out of the way. So that'll give us f of x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus 4x. Now, what is the magic number that completes the square? It's going to be 4. Half of the middle squared. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. So I will need to add 4 on this side as well. So that's going to give me f of x plus 3, just putting those together, is equal to. Now let's go ahead and factor this. This will always factor as the same thing twice. So this will be x plus 2 times x plus 2. In other words, we have f of x plus 3 equals x plus 2 squared, because there's 2 of them. And finally, subtracting the 3 from both sides, and I'll put it over here. It gives me f of x equals x plus 2 squared minus 3. Okay, this is vertex form. And the vertex is going to be the opposite of this, comma, this. So -2, comma, -3. That will be the vertex. And the axis of symmetry is just, wait, I lost my marker. The axis of symmetry is always going to be x equals something. And look, there's my x value right there. All right, the vertex always sits on the axis of symmetry. So x equals -2. All right, let's go again. All right, be careful. This one is a little bit more tricky because it's got that coefficient. All right, watch how we deal with that. It changes things. But first, the first part is normal. So let's add 3 to both sides, get that out of the way. So that's going to leave me f of x plus 3 is equal to 2x squared plus 8x. All right, a common mistake students will make is going, oh, half of the middle squared. So that's 4, and square it, that'll be 16, and adding 16 to both sides. That would be wrong. We're not going to add 16 to both sides. Okay, now if you've been paying attention in class, you probably guessed that the reason is we have to factor out this 2 first. We're not allowed to do this process with a leading coefficient other than 1. So we will put a factor of 2 outside the parentheses. Inside, that will leave x squared plus 4x, leave a space. You know, I'm dividing everything by 2 when I do this. Now we decide what the magic number is that completes the square. And it will be 4. Half of 4 is 2. 2 squared is 4. Now here's the second common mistake kids will make. Well, I added 4 here. Some kids think I'm going to add 4 over here. All right, that sure is the way it worked on the last 2 problems, plus 4 plus 4, plus 9 plus 9. But this problem is different because we have this coefficient of 2, which we didn't have on the last 2 problems. Okay, which means we have this 2 out in front of the parentheses, which we never had before. So when we add this 4, we're not really adding just 4. It's really 2 times 4. So we're really adding 8. So to balance that out, I need to do plus 8 on the other side. All right, this is really 2 times 4, so that's 8. All right, that's the toughest part. That just blows kids' minds sometimes. So I've got f of x plus 11 is equal to 2 times. This should be the same thing twice. X plus 2 times x plus 2. So that's going to give me f of x plus 11 is equal to 2 times x plus 2 squared. All right, subtracting 11 from both sides. All right, so that's going to give me f of x equals 2 times x plus 2 squared minus 11, because I subtracted that 11. All right, again, the vertex is easy to spot. It's the opposite of this one, comma this one. So that's -2, comma, -11. And the axis of symmetry is always x equals something. Well, there it is, x equals -2. Okay, let's try number 4. Do not watch this with a pen or pencil in your hand. If you're copying off of me, you are not learning anything. You're just copying. All right, do this yourself. If you got stuck and you needed help, that's fine. Watch the video, but don't write anything down. Once you see how it's done, go back and do the problem yourself. So as usual, I've subtracted 5 from both sides. I will not do half of the middle squared yet because of the coefficient of 3. All right, that's a common mistake. So it's not going to be 9. So I'm going to have to do another line. So this will be f of x minus 5 equals. All right, I am going to factor out the leading coefficient of 3. That will leave behind x squared minus 2x. And I'm leaving a space. The minus 2 came from because I did a negative 6 divided by 3. All right, or you could think distributive property. If I were to distribute, I have to get back to the previous step. So 3 times x squared, 3x squared. 3 times negative 2 is negative 6. Now is the time where we complete the square. Now we do half of the middle squared. Well, half of this is negative 1. If you square that, you get positive 1. Now, I am not going to do plus 1 on the other side. To balance this out, what am I really going to put over here? I'm really going to put a plus 3 over here because of this number in front. Think about the distributive property. All right, I would immediately get 3 times 1. So this is really a 3 if you do the distributive property. So I really added a 3 over here. So that's what I need to put over here to balance it out. Okay, back to blue. So this gives me f of x minus 2 is equal to 3 times, and let's factor this. This will be x minus 1, x minus 1. Which means I have f of x minus 2 is equal to 3 times x minus 1 squared. Last step, got to get f of x by itself, so I will add 2 to both sides. Okay, so that is going to give me f of x equals, all right, 3 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. All right, the vertex is easy to see. It's the opposite of this one, comma that one. So positive 1, comma 2. You must put it in parentheses. Don't get lazy and just put 1, comma 2. That means something else. The axis of symmetry will always be x equals. X equals what? It's right there. X equals 1. All right, that is it for number 4. Let's go on to number 5. Okay, brace yourself. This one's going to be ugly. All right, this one's going to have fractions. This is next level. All right, so in fact, this might be the first one you're watching the video for, because it's like, oh no, how do I do this one? So if you're watching the video, do not have a pen or a pencil in your hand. Throw it across the room. Watch the video. Just watch it and learn. But then I want you to go back and do the problem yourself. If you have to watch the video 3 times before you can remember it, do it. But do not watch the video while having a pencil in your hand or a pen. Okay, part of what makes this tough, but you know what, this isn't going to have fractions in it. Anyway, it's out of order, okay? Maybe I'll just do this as its own step. This sum is not in standard form. The x squared term should be first. Now, when I move the x squared term, please understand that the negative sign goes with it. Okay, so like that's a term, this is a term, and let's do green. This is a term. Those are my 3 terms. Okay, so when I rewrite it, I'm going to put the, I basically need to switch these two. Okay, the x squared term has to go first, and the constant has to go last. So I'm going to have negative x squared. All right, the 2x just stays in the middle, so plus 2x. And the 5 goes on the end, so I'm going to put a plus 5. This is the proper order of things. Okay, now I can go ahead and subtract the 5. Okay, from both sides. I don't know why my 6 is suddenly popping up there, but whatever. Okay, so this is going to give me f of x minus 5 is equal to negative x squared plus 2x. Okay? It is not time to do half of the middle squared just yet. It's because of this negative sign sitting out here. I'm going to treat this just like you would a negative 1. Okay? It's basically, that's what it is. It's a negative 1. We just don't write the 1, it's understood. But we need to factor out that leading coefficient before we do anything else. So if we do that, then, okay, we still have f of x minus 5 over there. Okay, but then, so we will have our negative 1 outside of the parentheses. So inside we will have x squared minus 2x. Alright, again, I'm just dividing by negative 1 here. Or I'm thinking of the distributive property. Negative times a negative would give me back my positive. So now is where I complete the square. Half of the middle squared. What's it going to be? It's going to be 1. Half of the middle is negative 1. If I square that, I get positive 1. Alright, negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Do not make the mistake of putting a plus 1 over here to balance this out. Again, we have a multiplier happening. So it looks like we added a 1. But if I did the distributive property, I'd wind up doing negative 1 times 1. So I would get a negative 1. So this is really a minus 1 that I put over here. So I'm going to need a minus 1 to balance that out. Okay? Multiply, in your mind, multiply by that leading coefficient first. And then copy that to the left side. Alright, that's the hardest part to understand. Okay, why I didn't just do a plus 1. If you can understand that, you're probably fine. So the rest of it, so this will be negative 6 is equal to negative 1 times, and this will factor as the same thing twice. So x minus 1, x minus 1. So then I will have f of x minus 6 is equal to negative, I'm going to stop putting the 1 now. I think you get what happened. So this will be x minus 1 squared. Finally adding 6 to both sides. Alright, so plus 6 plus 6. So that'll be f of x is equal to negative x minus 1 squared plus 6. Okay, and that's it. So this is vertex form. And the vertex will be the opposite of this one, comma this one. So it'll be 1, comma 6. And the axis of symmetry will be x equals 1 because of that. Alright, that's number 5. Okay, I don't know why the number jumped up high like that, but this is number 6 down here. Let's see if I can make it appear. I could not get it to appear, so I'm just going to put the 6 myself. Alright, fine. So, just like before, I'd really rather this was in standard form. So, in standard form, this would be f of x equals negative 2x squared plus 4x. Okay, so I just reorganized it. Now, it is not time to do the whole half the middle squared thing because of that coefficient. So I need to factor that out before I do anything else. it's helpful that there was no third number that I had to subtract. So I'm going to have, all right, f of x equals, but I need to factor out this common factor, this leading coefficient. So I'm going to pull out the 2, so that will leave behind x squared, and then I'm going to have minus 2x. Okay, and again, the way I know what the number to put in the middle here is whenever you pull out a common factor, you really are dividing. So I'm really dividing everything by -2. And 4 divided by -2 is -2. So that's what's really happening. Okay, now it's time to complete the square. So half of this is -1. Square that and you get +1. Okay, so I'm going to put a +1 right here. Am I going to put a +1 on the left side as well? No? What am I going to put? I'm actually going to put a -2 over here. Why? It looks like I did a +1, but if I were to do the distributive property, you would actually see I've got -2 times 1. All right, -2 times 1 would immediately become -2. So it's really like I put a -2 over here once you see the distributive property. So I have to put a -2 over here to balance that out. Okay. All right, then I can finish the problem. So this will be f of x minus 2 equals -2 factor. So this will be x minus 1 times x minus 1. So that's -2 times x minus 1 squared. Alright, so we just add the 2 to both sides, and we are good to go. Alright, so that is going to give me f of x is equal to -2 times x minus 1 squared plus 2. Okay, so this is vertex form. Alright, so once it's in vertex form, now we're supposed to find the rest of this information. So the vertex is +1, 2. Okay, opposite of this one, comma, that one. Now, I'm going to go ahead and ask you for the additional information this time that I didn't ask you on 1 through 5. Is this parabola going to be facing up or down? Right? Is it going to be a right side up parabola, or is it going to be an upside down parabola? Alright, this one's going to be an upside down parabola. Whoa, I wanted yellow, man. This one's going to be an upside down parabola like this. I know that because of the -2 that's in the front. Okay, that means, alright, so first of all, it's facing down. Okay, and that means the vertex, which would be like here, is going to be a maximum. Alright, so our vertex is a maximum because the parabola is facing down. Now, the axis of symmetry will be x equals 1 because of that. Now, the x-intercepts and such can wait until we do the graph. Alright, so let's see what happens. So the vertex is going to be, we always put the vertex here in the middle, 1, 2, alright, from that. That means as I go lower, this will be 0, -1. As I go higher, this will be 2, 3, alright? But it all started with the vertex, alright? Always put that vertex first. Whoa, I lost my marker. Okay, came from that. So now I'm going to see what my TI-30XS Multiview has to say about all this. All right, Multiview, what do you got to say for yourself? Okay, so I'm going to hit my table button, clear that thing out. So I've got -2 times x minus 1 squared, get out of there, plus 2. All right, I'm just typing in my vertex form equation. So let's see what happens. Bam. Now I'm going to want it to start at -1 just to be efficient. All right, might as well start at the top of my table here. Okay, so I get this. So let's start copying this down. Okay. Hello. How are you doing?
We're just gonna say hi.
Hi.
I'm voting you for yearbook dedication.
All right. I hope I get it.
I said you're the best ever.
Bye. Love it when my students come to say hi. But I forgot the number. So it'll be -6, 0, and 2. Okay, -6, 0, and 2. Well, we knew that. Now, if we did it right, it should probably be the same two values on the other side. Am I right? Like 0 and -6 because of the symmetry. Okay, so sure enough, 0 and -6. So let's graph and see what we have there so far. I guess I should give up on the zoom here. Better graph in red so it really shows up well. So here we go, -1, -6. Okay, so -1, -6, and 0, 0, and 1, 2, that's the vertex. Okay, and 2, 0, and 3, -6. All right, so you can see the parabola forming here. All right, doing like this type of a deal. Whoa, messed that one up. All right, you know what? It's hard to draw with these pens, people, on a computer. I'm telling you. All right, you get the idea. You should be able to do it better on paper. So your parabola is basically doing like this, and it goes down forever. So, can I know the x-intercepts now? Yeah, these were the x-intercepts, where it touched the x-axis. So the x-intercepts are 0, 0, and 2, 0. Okay, boom, boom. If ever the x-intercepts do not show up right on the graph as integers, that I can just read right off the graph or the chart, you know, because like here's the x-intercept, and here was another x-intercept. We could always find them by setting this equation equal to 0 and solving it, but we did not have to do that this time. Anyways, the y-intercept. Well, look, here's the y-intercept right there. It's where it crosses the y-axis. So the y-intercept in this case is also 0, 0. So there, we got everything we needed. All right, I really should be charging my phone right now. I'll be back. I'm back. Okay. 54%. It's not good enough for the battery. Let's go. Leg out. Leg out. What we have here is, at least it's in the right order, okay? So I have f of x, well, you know, what am I doing? Yeah, I know what I'm doing. So f of x equals, what I'm doing now is I'm factoring out that leading coefficient. So I'm going to put my -3, oh yeah, let me zoom in again. Bam. So I'm going to have my -3 outside of these parentheses. So that means on the inside, I'm going to have x squared. Now remember, what I'm really doing when I factor out -3 is I'm dividing. So those cancel out, so I got x squared. But 6 divided by -3 is -2. So I'm going to have -2x like that. Okay, now, and only now, will I do the whole half of the middle squared thing to complete the square. All right, you can't do it while it's on the first step. It's not a 9. I don't do half of 6 get 3 squared and get 9, because you have to factor out the leading coefficient before you do that. So instead, it is going to be a 1. Half of -2 is -1. -1 squared is +1. Am I going to put a +1 over here on the left? No, I will not put a +1 over here on the left, because even though this looks like a +1, in a minute I could do the distributive property to see what really happened. And if I did the distributive property right away, you would see this would become a -3. It's really a -3, okay? It just doesn't look like it because I have factored out the GCF. So, but it's a -3 that I really must balance out. Okay, so make sure you do the distributive property at least in your head before you decide what to put on the other side. Right? Because whatever you would get after doing the distributive property, when these parentheses are gone, that's what you really have to balance out. Okay, did you follow that? I hope so. Sometimes it takes a few times, but that was a few times. So you know what? You should have it. So we have f of x minus 3 is equal to -3 times, now this should factor as the same thing twice. Okay, specifically x minus 1 times x minus 1. So I have f of x minus 3 is equal to -3 times x minus 1 squared. I shall now add 3 to both sides. So that will give me f of x equals -3 times x minus 1 squared plus 3. So this is vertex form. Alright, now I can do the rest of the problem. So the vertex is +1, 3. It's the opposite of this, comma that, which also gives me the axis of symmetry, which will be x equals what? 1, because of that. Let's see, is this parabola upward facing or downward facing? This is a downward facing parabola, alright, because of that negative sign right there. I know that this is going to be facing down. It's going to be this type of deal. And because it's facing down, I know that the vertex will be at the top. So it will be a maximum value. Alright, so that's what that's all about. We'll do the x-intercepts and the y-intercept after we graph, because we might get lucky and it might just show up here. If they don't, then we're going to have some solving to do. Okay, the vertex goes here in the middle. So that's going to be 1, 3. So as I go less, that's going to be 0, -1. As I go greater, that'll be 2 and 3. Alright, now we will have to consult the TI-30 XS Multiview to see what's up. So I'm going to hit my table function. Okay, this is supposed to be a -3. You know what, it is x minus 1 still. Okay, and it's a 3. Alright, boom, there it is, it matches. I'm going to make this start at -1, because that's where my table starts, so -1. Okay, so that means I have -9, 0, and 3. -9, 0, and 3. We already knew that. Now, if we did it right, this should probably be 0 and -9 because of the symmetry of a parabola. It should have balance around the vertex. But let's check and be sure.
Mr. Burton,
Yes, sir.
is there any way I can get another copy of the homework and do it in study hall?
That's fine.
I left it at home.
It's going to be 0 and -9. It's on the lower shelf. Go one shelf down. It's probably the second folder, the lower folder. You want to come say hi to the video?
Yes. Oh my God.
All right. Come say something. It's running right now as we speak. All right. Tell them who you are, buddy.
This is Juice,
Juice!
and I just want to say that you got to do everything Mr. Burton says, and you better not have a pencil in your hand right now.
There you go. Wasn't I just saying that? See, that was a high five happening. Thanks,
Go-
Juice.
Go math.
All right. Guest speaker. I love that. All right. So let's graph it up and see what happens. We've got -1, -9. Man, I want to zoom in again. Whoa. Did I go too far? Compromise. Okay. -1, -9. So that's like here. 0, 0.
This is the quiz.
1, 3. Oh, sorry. First folder then.
Yeah.
1, 3, 2, 0, and 3, -9. Okay, because we looked at the calculator, saw that in fact we were correct with our guess. All right, so you could draw this. Again, I'm not good at drawing with an electronic pen. It is very tough. Okay, that's a lot more pointy than I would have liked. And then I missed at the end there. Okay, but you get the idea. All right, forgive the mess. You can do better than I did. All right, so the x-intercepts. We were lucky again that we got nice whole numbers for the x-intercepts. So the x-intercepts are here and here. All right, those are the x-intercepts. So that's 0, 0, and 2, 0. Once again, the y-intercept. All right, this is the y-intercept that I just colored green. And so the y-intercept is 0, 0. All right, so that was a lesson that was all about vertex form. I showed you how to convert from standard form to vertex form by completing the square, and ultimately we looked at how to graph and to get some more details. I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you weren't just copying off of me. Make sure you can do it by yourself, or when the test comes, suddenly you won't know how to do it because you don't have anyone to copy off of. Let me stop talking now. See you later.